This has to cement the Pokemon leak community as the dumbest in all of gaming. So we got like peak fake leaker speculator weirdo over here. Really hard to make a clear conclusion if this is a new Roserade form. The mask, arms, and body are the same, but the part of the hair seems to look like a helmet or a hat or a different hairstyle. Probably just the design of the fence, but who knows? Just like every fake leak, could be real, could be fake, who knows? But it's fun to speculate about. They're talking about this from the Pokemon Legends ZA trailer. It's literally exactly Roserade. It's not even stylized Roserade. It's exactly Roserade. So it just kind of shows like these kids are so stupid. They don't even have abstraction. We are plummeting below 90 IQ because they can't take that and then imagine it from a forward-facing view, even though official media, you can go on Bulbapedia, and it takes less than a minute to find this, makes you realize it is the exact same thing. Like, oh, no one expects the hair to look like that because they don't see it from the front that often, unless, like, there's probably some scenes in the anime as well, because this is an anime reference. But even that's like, okay, yeah, that's the same. That's not a helmet. That's not a hat. That's the hair. But the details are actually so exact. It blows my mind. Like, this is exactly Roserade. We even have, like, the little leafy part coming off the side. I'm pretty sure there's an actual term for that. Yeah, the green leafy bit under the flower. It's called a sepal. And this is so exactly Roserade that the details are even there in a metalwork of stained glass over it or something. And then we have the forward-facing thing, and then we have, like, the little mask. Roserade? Masquerade? It's exactly Roserade. Yet, the Pokemon community, like, 5,000 people saw that and went, oh, Mega Roserade, or a regional variant, because it looks different, even though it literally is not different in any way. Oh yeah, even, like, the white parts of the hair that stick out, like, the smallest of details, everything is accounted for. This is practically a reference sheet for Roserade, just in different media. You never know with Pokemon. God, I hate this community, and it is because every other Poketuber is a bad actor. They don't call out Wolfglick for his evil. He cheats and then lies about it to steal prize money in a children's game and deprive other people of opportunity. Also, he defended a person that admitted to being an abuser and said they will always be sick and likely never change. So every other Poketuber is just on board with that, and then they willfully, knowingly cover fake information, and they lie about it being leaks or some kind of new thing that could be in the game when the odds are zero because it's a complete fabrication. And the fallout from it is the community just being more fake than actually tied to anything Pokemon. This extends further. It's why I'm against Pokemon Showdown. Baffling. The Pokemon Company doesn't shut down Pokemon Showdown for the copyright infringement, but it also makes sense because the Pokemon Company is provably corrupt because of the defense they run for Wolfglick and then play Pokemon and all that stuff. And, like, this is the result where that's a new Roserade form, guys. Literally, exactly Roserade. And the sad thing is, they provide actual analysis for the game because they took the map and they overlaid the mini-map from the trailer with the map and then showed the locations so we can get an idea of the size of the game. And holy crap, Pokemon Legends ZA is small. So the idea is, oh, if it takes place entirely within Lumio City, that's actually a good thing because it could be big inside the city. The game taking place entirely within Lumio City is objectively bad because we cannot have a regional scale adventure. And the biggest atrocity is that Kalos is the region we have spent the least amount of time in. Every other region, 3+ years. Kalos, a single year, and then we don't get to explore the region further. And instead, we actually get a small city to explore, and we have the map overlay to show it. But that's bad news about Pokemon Legends ZA. And Legends is the best, and Arceus is so good game, so it can't be bad game. So I'm not going to respond to the truth, because this can't be real. And then this is the community that has been created by grifters like this, so I can't even get upset. But it's like, oh, this would actually be a cool analysis and breakdown and go back to more the early days, honest, better feeling time of the community when Pokemon fans actually talked about the game and the material. And you speculate a little bit, but no one calls it a ZA discussion or wish list or anything. It's always leak because that sells, because it has that aura, or it has like the implication that there's something credible about it, when it's just been over a decade of straight lying for views and having zero care for the community or the audience. But everyone's just an idiot, as we talked about. Pokemon leak community is just too stupid to function. So yeah, it's just idiots that you can farm by lying to them, and for some reason they always eat it up. Tell them the sweet nothings, and you make money. And if you had any doubts, this cements it. If you can only have one, which one would it be? And a majority of the community says Mega Evolutions, when the alternative is regional forms. You know, the permanent form you can have multiple of versus the one-off that you're restricted to that also is temporary. That's kind of unreal. And everyone complained about this in competitive Generation 6, but even from a casual standpoint, it's not fun to just be like, here's what I do every time. I instantly Mega, and then I use my overpowered stuff, and then I beat the game, and then my Mega goes away, and then it comes back, and I don't use anything but Mega Lucario. Wow, such fun and diversity, and instead people just throw away all of the regional forms for that. Where even, and also if it's not viable, or if it doesn't work out, like, cool, you just wasted a Mega. A regional form, it's like, yeah, that regional form ain't great, but it doesn't feel like you're wasting a slot, or wasting any kind of potential. And I think also, like, Mega Evolution bricked Game Freak's design forever. That we're not going to see, like, a 4th evolution gimmick, or we're not going to see evolutions for certain Pokemon. Instead, they get a Mega. Manectric, like, we don't have to worry about 4th evolutions with, like, oh, Manectric could have just gotten a normal evolution. And that would be fine, and also balanced, because of all the other crazy overtuned stuff we see. So we're getting less evolutions of existing 2-stage Pokemon, and then if there were no regional forms, like, oh, that means we just have less expression and less revitalization of older Pokemon as well, which is what Megas were supposed to do. And then Mega Houndoom, Mega Abomasnow, those aren't even real. Those are just, like, so awful and forgettable, and you can't use them, because you're giving up just the better thing in its place. Cool. It's like a completely worthless design that takes up a slot that should have something better, whereas you can just do as many of this as you want. No one's going to have a problem with it, because it's just better. You introduce 15 new Megas, maybe 3 or 4 of them matter. Well done. Game Freak was right to drop it, and for some reason the community just cannot stop crying about it. I haven't seen anyone else talk about this, so maybe I'm wrong, but since we can't knock out Pokemon in Legends ZA, does that mean we can't fail Shinies anymore? What do you mean we can't knock out Pokemon anymore in ZA? Like, the brain rot. The conclusions that are made by the prominent figures in the Pokemon League community can only exist through, like, sub 90 IQ and only attract the dumbest of NPCs to fall in for it. That, no, we can see, like, it's a dazed effect. And when that dazed effect wears off, the encounter is over, so you can still fail. Like, it does give you some room to where, like, oh yeah, you're not just smashing input commands and the Pokemon gets KO'd. So that's also, like, a really weird thing about the battle system. Like, we finally get what we want, but just done so arbitrarily. And that's just what gets me about the Pokemon community. It's always the jump to the dumbest conclusion. Like when Tyranitar Tube saw Nihilego and went, I know it, it's Marshadow. When it's like, oh, so it's just all the brain rot coming together. It's like, well, we had the leak, so it has to make sense at some point. I'm going to be the smart one for jumping right on this before anyone else, and then being completely wrong. That's all the community knows how to do, is just be completely, bafflingly wrong with their reaches, because that's what happens when you get the attention for just lying. It's sad that this is what the community is, and I'm the only person that's like, oh, this is not good. We should try to be more responsible, have more morality, not support liars and grifters. But no, I'm in the wrong for that, and that's why everything is awful. So I'm the only one that thought Mega Charizard Z was about to be revealed right after these two flashed across the screen. Yes. We got this fun fact: the French website exclusively has a screenshot where the camera shows a bit more of the city compared to the rest of the trailers. We can see just a bit more of the canal, how the parks are integrated into the city. That is, like, that doesn't feel like Lumiose. Now it also kind of shows how much they're going to have to break and refit like what we know about Lumios just to kind of make it work. And then looking at that, it's like, oh, that don't look too great. I liked everything else we saw, all the other renders and all the other gameplay. It's like, oh yeah, it is a step up from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And the idea about it being in a city is you don't have as large of a world to render, so the struggling Nintendo Switch can maybe accomplish something, but that don't look so good. And the thing is, people are going to blame Game Freak for this, even though the Nintendo Switch is the problem. That is all, like, there is zero blame on Game Freak when they have to make games by modern standards on a console that was outdated when it released in 2017. So yeah, I had to point out Monster Hunter Wilds struggles if you don't have a top-end GPU, but the Pokemon community just only looks to hate. And this is where it's gotten really weird, because the sacred cow of the Pokemon franchise that is Pokemon Legends, for doing nothing revolutionary, for bringing objectively nothing to the Pokemon franchise with Pokemon Legends Arceus. That was a deliberately broken battle system, a deliberately broken catching system, and a worse, like, explorable area than the wild area, and it wasn't open world like what Pokemon Scarlet and Violet brought us. So, like, it wasn't even a step. It was just a glorified tech demo instead of getting, like, a true Sinnoh remake or the open world Pokemon game then as Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, or every possibility was wasted for a fake story and a tech demo with Pokemon Legends Arceus. But again, that's a sacred cow. Not allowed to say anything bad about it. However, the brain rot from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, bad, Game Freak bad, the game looked bad, awful, from people that have never actually played other games. They wouldn't know how AAA titles on PC or other consoles perform. They're just like, oh, this looks like Scarlet and Violet, and Scarlet and Violet bad, therefore these graphics are bad, but Arceus good, but Legend Arceus good, but just Game Freak bad. Like, it's only Game Freak's the fault here. They tried, good job with the Legends, but Game Freak bad. They need to learn how to make games, except for Legends Arceus. But the graphics are bad, because it's Scarlet and Violet, and that's bad. Even though there's no problem with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, it has no less bugs or glitches than any other AAA release, and it's not an action game. So the performance doesn't matter. Like, Game Freak did the right thing by making all the fidelity go into the battles, into the Pokemon and those interactions, because that's where the depth of the game is. There's thousands more animations and assets in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet than Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, or anything like that. But that's what people say. Suppose you haven't played Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Except that game struggles to run at 30 FPS. So, like, as a modern title, by any kind of, like, graphical standards, it pushed the Switch to the limits, but it does less than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And it's always selection bias. So there's really rough-looking areas in Tears of the Kingdom. There's low-performance areas in Tears of the Kingdom. And there's great-looking areas in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It's so weird how the gameplay and gameplay loop of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is really good, but since all of these brats cheat and hack the games and support cheating anyways, they don't care about that. It is so weird that Pokemon fans and Nintendo fans will throw away gameplay over graphics for just Game Freak. When, like, that is the entire thing about Nintendo. The games look like crap, but they're more fun than anything on the Xbox or PS5. Those games can look as pretty as they want, but they're shallow and not as great. Pokemon, it's kind of strange how, like, yeah, actually, when you think about all of the criticism about, like, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet or Pokemon Sword and Shield, there was nothing about the gameplay. It was just, ew, one tree, texture bad, whole thing awful, Game Freak needs to be fired from Pokemon. Same for Scarlet and Violet, because I drop frames. Oh, wait, what's that? Tears of the Kingdom also runs under 30 FPS? Nah. So yeah, this is what we get to look forward to for the next 7 months. Trailers for a crappy game, and Pokemon community derangement. I'm glad we got to wait 2 years for all of that to happen. Hope you got, and then no Pokemon Quest 2, no Master Collection. I mean, Pokemon Champions, but that says in development. Even though, like, Pokemon Champions should be just makeable in, like, a year. I'm pretty sure the hacking community could just turn Pokemon Scarlet and Violet into Pokemon Champions with, like, every battle feature and online connectivity, or at least, like, a template or a setup for that in, like, a month or two. So, like, that should, even if it is Pokemon Works, like, that should take no time at all to make, because you have all the assets. That needed to be announced for summer release, not in development, with, like, no time frame. It's like, are they going to try to get it out by 2025? Why didn't they just say 26. And then there's just nothing else for Pokemon fans after nothing for Pokemon fans for over a year. And the only thing we had to hold on to was some DLC of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Like, 0 moves from the Pokemon Company. No wonder Monster Hunter and Palworld are eating their lunch. And then just, like, still no response. That is just baffling. So at this time with Pokemon, we just have an awful community. Awesome. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.